You're watching Your New Favorite Song here on AIM Country Music Television, and I'm your host, Mark Gilliott. Today we're shining the spotlight on Florida-born singer-songwriter Clark Hill. He was raised on the family farm, and Clark is turning his early heartbreaks and hard work into tough, honest songs. He's played over 500 shows across 30 states and, believe it or not, 14 countries. Clark has shared the stage with the likes of Chris Young, Craig Morgan, and Trace Adkins. He's toured for the troops on an Armed Forces Entertainment Wing, and he's been named a CMA Emerging Artist. His music blends his Southern rock roots with soulful hooks and uncompromised storytelling. But right now he's working out with a new single, a song that moves away from soulful hooks and storytelling to a new page for Clark, a rowdy, crowd-pleasing party anthem that you are sure to love. Clark is here today to talk about his new release, One Beer. Let's welcome him to the program right now to talk about what might just be your new favorite song. Welcome to the show, Clark.
Hey, man. Thank you for having me, Mark.
You're really welcome. Nice to meet you.
Yes, sir. You too.
Well, you've had trials, tribulations, turning points. You've done lots of shows, lots of experience. You're not new, but yeah, you may be new to some in our audience. So I just love to toss you the mic and get the full Clark Hill bio.
Yeah, man. Thank you for that. And that's it's a great point. That's one of the things I'm starting to learn is there's always new audiences that don't know much about you yet, and it's kind of cool on getting an opportunity to share some of that. So Clark Hill is a unique thing for me. It's just it's more than being an entertainer. It's more than music. It's just at one point one of my old bios said it's a way of life, and I felt like at one point that was a little corny way to say it, but I think there's a lot of truth to that. Is I'm a North Florida boy. I don't know how many of the listeners will be someone that's familiar with that area, but it's definitely, even to this day, with all the advances we have, it's a part of the world that's still kind of a little bit behind almost, but not in a bad way. It's just there's still a lot of small towns, a lot of blue collar people, and that's probably a lot of the core of who I am as a person. And that anything for me is whoever I am as a person is also who I am as an entertainer. So a lot of my story comes from, like you mentioned, trials and tribulations. It's something I think all of us are familiar with. I think some of us just have different ones and then different ways of sharing them and different ways that they've affected us. So a lot of my life was centered in that, and music became a little bit of an outlet early in life, even though I didn't know that it would ever be anything professional. But music was always there, and I had the things that I loved. I was a huge Elvis guy. I still am a huge Elvis guy. So a lot of people have seen that I used to do Elvis Presley impersonations when I was younger, and those were like ways for me to get away from the things I was seeing at home and the things that I was scared of, and trying to find an outlet. And then as an adult, it became a way for me to share my story with the world, not just my story of a song, but my story of who I was as a person and who I wanted to be, more importantly, and where I wanted to go. So I think that's probably the best, like one day explanation I could give anybody of who Clark Hill is it's more than a song. It's more than the music. It's more than what they see on stage. I think it's just, I'm just like everybody else, man. We've all been through something, and sometimes that something tears you down and sometimes it builds you into something special. And my goal is that, God uses it to turn me into something special.
Fantastic. So how would you describe your sound to someone who hasn't heard you before to, entice them to check it out?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. To me, my sound is centered on Southern rock. That's the easiest way to describe it, and I think it's one of those things for any of you listeners that are going to look at it. It's like, if you're not familiar with the genre, go look it up and look at the classics and look at where they came from and what they were doing and what their story was, and that's where I think my lane really is. I'm from, my hometown's from about 12 miles from where Lynyrd Skynyrd was founded, and where those boys were being hellraisers in the back roads. And I think there's something about that that's very spiritual, with the connection to the land per se, and to the spirit of the area. And Lynyrd Skynyrd was a big influence for me as a child, and I didn't even realize why. So I think my sound leans a lot towards things like that. So I'm shy to say country rock, but I'm definitely Southern rock. Which the thing about that genre in the 70s was that it was really just a culmination of people that loved country music. Their fathers were listening to country music, but they were young, and they were into the whole English rock scene that had blown up. And but on the west side of Jacksonville was for Lynyrd Skynyrd, they were from the west side of Jacksonville, and it was just a very impoverished area that had a lot of poverty and a lot of black culture influences. So you got the blues, and you had all these things converging into that their moms were going to tell you you're going to get up and go to church on Sunday morning. So then you had gospel music. And so that to me it screams everything about my sound. And even to me, I go back on the Elvis Presley thing, is like he had a very similar influence that brought him to what his music was. And I think that's why I really love to say that, because it's just pure and it's real. It's not that I don't love modern country, because I do. Like, I listen to it all. It's just when I think about my roots, man, it comes from those storytelling genres of people that were trying to stand up on their own feet and do something with their lives.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think I can hear that in all the music of yours I've listened to so
Well,
far.
thank you. That's a huge compliment, actually. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, now abbreviate it. Try to describe that music, that sound, in just 3 words.
uh, 3 words. Give me a second. Let me gather this, because this is a good opportunity. So 3 words. Um, all right, I got that. 3 words would be, I would say my music is high energy passion.
Okay, that's right on. Yeah, it was worth the wait for that.
Yeah, I think so.
When you're writing a new song, do you start with lyrics or melody concept? I mean, a lot of the music has that sort of maybe like a blues based starting point. So,
Yeah.
where do you start on writing?
So normally I would say probably both. I have to say probably both, but realistically for me, it's normally there's going to be a lyric that kind of captures my mind, and then when I start with that lyric, I immediately will go to, I'll grab a guitar and I'll be like, all right, well, why did that make me feel like I should write that in drop D? You know what I mean, or whatever, and then I kind of start to mold it from there. But I would say it's probably the lyric first, and I've never thought about that. That's a great question, basically. I've never thought about that, but I would say the lyric first. But I do think that there are times where I just have something in my head that I hear, and I'm like, man, I think it'd be cool to write a song that sounds like this.
Yeah, I saw one on your Instagram where you had done sort of the skeleton of a song, and you said, "Hey, should I finish this song up?" And I thought that was a pretty good concept of how to get, is this connecting with anybody?
Yeah, it's a great point. I've been doing that a lot more lately too. I've been going through, and I'm in a really good spot in my career, and I'm deep diving into stuff that I've written for years that I honestly, people may not believe this, but didn't even know I had. Like, I was just literally a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, I'm driving home from Nashville, and I have my guitar player with me, one of my guitar players with me, and I'm scrolling through voice memos, and I'm like, man, what about, it's like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just like, what is this? And I get into it. I'm like, man, that was a good song. Why didn't I finish it? So I'm trying to delve into the things that I have to say and see if I can get them out there to the world.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if it doesn't connect with somebody, it doesn't matter how good it is.
Yep.
It's just not a good enough song.
Yep, that's right. It's just how it works.
So do you lean toward the more autobiographical stuff, or do you lean towards making stuff up?
I mean, again, I hate to say this, it's not a great answer, but a little bit of both. I mean, realistically, my core is going to be always centered on something that's autobiographical, or that I wish was, if that makes any sense. Where there's like, maybe there's like maybe there's a fiction element to it, but it's something that I dream of or something that I think someone else dreams of. So, but my core is definitely going to be more like tangible, real life stuff. And then there's definitely times where I do. There's one that will come out. It may be the next release potentially, but it's one's going to be called Tail Lights, and it's a lot more modern than anything I've done, and it's one of the better written songs in today's format. Like the way it's melodically held together, the way the lyrics are kind of playing off of each other. It's a really well done song. And I had, some writers come in and help me finish it, and they had this great idea. Well, the first verse of it, and probably even the chorus, is genuinely like factual. It's a story about someone in my life. It wasn't a story about me, but it was an actual story. And then the next 2 verses was like, okay, cool. Well, how do we continue this story in a way that we think we can capture more people? So we got a little bit fiction based in what we did next. So that's why I say it's a little bit of both to me sometimes.
Oh, I think good storytelling requires that most of the time.
Yeah. Well, you got to connect with, I mean, I'm not too much into pleasing the masses, but the reality is like, if you don't connect with the masses, then you're not going to make the difference. Like, to me, I'm very spiritual. So I'm in this for a bigger reason than just play music or make money, So if I'm not going to be willing to be vulnerable to connect with the masses, then I'm not doing what God called me to do. So you gotta open your mind, you gotta open your heart, and find out what people need to hear from from someone like me.
Yeah, connecting is everything. You got to find that tribe out there.
Yep.
So what would be at the pinnacle of what you listen to? Who would you always put on to listen to when you're just relaxing and maybe looking for inspiration or just thinking or unwinding? Who do you like to listen to, like, always?
I'm going to give you two answers on that, and I know you're probably going to hate interviewing me and never want to do this again. But
no, I like this. This is good.
So, for instance, one of my things that I think is, when I say unique to me, I don't mean I'm the only person. What I'm saying, one of the things that makes me stand out is that I really am truly that deep spiritually based, and I'm not saying to push my spiritual beliefs. What I'm saying is that I am a very spiritually tied person, for better or for worse. And my thing is that my music draws me in based on what my spiritual needs are. So if I'm, a great example would be like today. Today is my dad's birthday, right? So I lost my dad in January 22, and it's still hard. And I feel like it shouldn't be. My dad was really, really tough, so I feel like he would kind of beat my behind if he knew I was still being a baby about it. But you just do. So like a day like today, I tend to lean a little bit more towards what fills that cup, where it wouldn't be artist, but it would be a type of song. So like I've been pretty busy today. Like that's why you see me dressed like crap, and I'm sorry ahead of time, audience. I promise I dress up on show nights, but I am a real country boy. No, I would lean like a Jamie Johnson route right now, and like I would want to hear something like that, like "Lead Me Home" or Vince Gill love story even, or maybe connect to some of the more deep rooted stuff that Leonard Skinner did, or maybe by Grace by Cody Johnson. I will want something that would direct me towards where I feel like I could fill my spiritual cup to feel like I'm not missing my dad. So that's one answer, basically, is that wherever I'm at is kind of where I'm going to gravitate towards music wise. And I definitely have people in those spiritual realms. Like if I'm needing to fill that cup, I'm going to lean towards certain types of artists. I'm still a huge Gaither Vocal Band fan, like some of the old school stuff. So you'll see me pull up stuff like that. One of my best friends, and he's produced some of my stuff, Mikey Rogers, does a lot with the Gaither Vocal Band label group, and then he's with Mr. Ricky Skaggs and stuff. And I'll lean towards even some of him and Mr. Jimmy Fortune's music because I want that spiritual connection. But then I have days, man, where it's like I just want to smile, and I would like, as old as the music is, like I could listen to every Elvis Presley song every day of my life and never complain, So it's like I'd still have, like, to answer your question, I still have those, like, Elvis is my big one, and I definitely love a lot of Prince stuff, and that one, everybody thinks that I'm like making that one up, but I love Prince. So like those are dailies almost that I would like listen to, and then they become influences for how I want my music to sound, and that makes it fun for me. But I'm still a sucker for, like, I know he's super current right now, but like Cody Johnson is. And it's hard because like I wouldn't say he's not my best friend or nothing like that, but like he's somebody I know, and it's hard because like I look at him and I'm like, man, that's somebody to look up to, and how he goes about it and how he does the songs, chooses them, writes them. It's just, he's a great artist, and I definitely can see myself listening to him every day in some way, something.
Right, yeah. So are there any videos of you with the slick back hair imitating Elvis?
Oh yeah, I need to put some out. I was young. I've got a few. My dad and mom used to take VHS tapes of me like rehearsing Elvis when I was probably, I don't know, how old are you when you're in second grade? Like 10? I don't even know. No, yeah, second grade. No, you're like 8, right? So I've got VHS videos of me and my little whitey tidies, and I had a mullet at the time, and I had it slicked back, and it was jet black. My dad would dye it, and oh my gosh, what a funny time.
Well, let me be the first to say we need to see those.
All right, I'll have to see what I can do. You might be the first to say we need to see those, but you won't be the first to ask, will I do Elvis? It's so funny. I guess I thought everyone in the world loved Elvis. So when people are just like, Elvis is your number one, I'm so surprised, but people want me to do Elvis all the time. So, I catch myself doing a lot more Elvis stuff than I realize. So maybe we'll share something, basically.
There you go. Okay, well, so we're here today to talk about your latest release, One Beer.
Yes,
this, if you can't pick it up from the name, is a party song. There's even a video of a pretty well done line dance. I'm not certain there's a story here besides the fun, but what's the full story behind One Beer?
Yeah, and so actually there's a great story behind it because it's the story is in the moment that we captured, and that's why the video was centered on that. So I decided to give my hand at going and recording in Muscle Shoals, which is just I was trying to capture my sound in a different way. And I don't know if you can, One Beer is the first release out of the Muscle Shoals project, and yeah, a lot of it said it's fun, but you might notice if you're to compare some of the old stuff, there's a little bit of a different sound and how I go about things, even vocally. And we were trying to capture that. And a lot of the feedback that I'm getting from the business right now is like when I'm in a room, people are like, "You're so captivating. You capture the room. You have such a great smile. Such a this, such a that. Like, why are you writing all this sad stuff?" Right? Which is the story of the industry. We know that. And so I was getting pushed to go in and do something fun and getting challenged in kind of a little bit of a competitive way to go and write something fun and put out a fun song and prove to the world that I could be, fun because in a real life scenario, I am. So when we were in the studio, I had two writers with me, and I was actually doing a song about my dad, and I was in a good spot, and they just kind of felt like, well, hey, we don't need to be involved with you on this one. Like, you got this. And they separated into a room and just started writing. And when we were talking, my manager and my girlfriend was like, "Hey, we need a party song." And he was, one of the writers, really good friend of mine. He's like, "Well, I have an idea," and he just started with the idea. And once that idea took off, and then once I got involved, it just really took on that Clark Hill vibe of the kind of entertainer that I am, which was what we really had to do in the studio. So the reason why I say all that is actually the story behind the song that's way deeper than just the fun lyrics of it. It was like I needed a moment to capture who I was as an entertainer in a way that for people that maybe couldn't see me, my agent is one of the partners at WME, and he made a really good point right before that song was recorded. He's like, most of your fans will never actually get to see you live. And that was hard for me because I pride myself on being a very special, unique Elvis Presley, connection with the audience. So the story behind the song was centered on what could I do to capture people and not be there. And that's what we tried to do. So you can, I don't know how much you've actually listened to it or when you listen to it again. And if you pay attention to some of the things happening, it just sounds like it's a fun environment in the studio. And the reason why was because it was. I mean, I have cell phone video. Well, I mean, I have our video team there too, but I have cell phone videos of me like telling people like, "Hey man, just hop in here and start singing and start doing this." Like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, we have a video of the studio drummer went and got pots and pans, like literally pots and pans out of the kitchen, and was in the floor of the studio, like tinka 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 tinka, just making noise. And you're just like, that's what we were trying to capture. And to me, what I'm saying is that was the story of the song. Was uh, you know, I just wanted people to enjoy life for a minute because I mean I think there's enough that we don't enjoy sometimes. So it's like realizing that you can capture that moment is the story to me.
Yeah. Well, and I always say that's the thing that's the hardest thing about your job is to, like when you're in person, I feel like it's probably pretty easy for you. I mean, it wouldn't be easy for me, but I think probably pretty easy for you to get up there and connect with an audience. But it's really difficult when you say, here's this, listen to Clark Hill. When you do that, all of a sudden you've got to connect on a whole different level. You've got to connect at a tiny little speaker sometimes because that may be what they're listening to, or in the car or whatever. So it does limit your communication. So it has to be done pretty well. I think this one does it.
I think so too, man. And thank you for the compliment, but I think so too. I think it's one that's going to be. I mean, it already has. I can't say it's going to be. It's already been a door opener for me and the whole team. And I think I don't think we're done. I think it's just getting started. And we're at. I mean, I think we're over 4 million impacts on social media with it, and coming up on 100,000 views of the video. Which I mean, I know we need millions, but the thing is, like as an independent artist, not a. I mean, all of our team is very like, okay, well, I have this extra $1,000 I can pay to get this help. Like it's not like we're coming at this with $1 million budget, and we don't have a lot of the resources yet. But I think we're doing good, and I think the coolest thing about it is that this is the only thing I've ever had that so far is literally 100%. Like we don't have anything negatives. Like I mean, there's not a thumbs down on YouTube. There's just nothing. Like, and it's kind of fun because instead of I mean, you're always gonna have people who don't like stuff, but the funny thing is that so far everybody that hears it likes One Beer. So we're like, okay, well, let's keep getting it out there. Maybe the rest of the world will agree, and maybe it'll be a career, the first career defining moment for me.
There you go. Well, it's having an impact. I'd love to play the video now. Is that good for you?
Absolutely.
Great. You're watching Clark Hill's video for One Beer here on AIM Country Music Television.
I've been grinding all week, just working that 9 to 5. Trying to make ends meet, but you know I'm barely getting by. And I can't wait for the weekend when I walk right in that dive. A little Merle on the jukebox, you know I'm gonna play him all night. And I say 1 beer, 2 beer, 3 beer, 4. Bartender knows I'll be back for more. When things going wrong, don't you know you gotta make it right. 5 beer, 6 beer, maybe 7. Getting my buzz in a honky-tonk heaven. The band's just starting, so we're gonna be here all night. She left me as she said goodbye. She almost made this country boy cry, but I knew where I was gonna be tonight. She can't take this away from me. She let me go and set me free. If she could see me now, I'm looking pretty neon bright. Everybody says 1 beer, 2 beer, 3 beer, 4. Bartender knows I'll be back for more. When things going wrong, don't you know you gotta make it right. 5 beer, 6 beer, maybe 7. Getting my buzz in a honky-tonk heaven. The band's just starting, so we're gonna be here all night. Everybody says 1 beer, 2 beer, 3 beer, 4. Bartender knows I'll be back for more. When things going wrong, don't you know you gotta make it right. 5 beer, 6 beer, maybe 7. Getting my buzz in a honky-tonk heaven. The band's just starting, so we're gonna be here all night. Everybody says 1 beer, 2 beer, 3 beer, 4. Bartender knows I'll be back for more. When things going wrong, don't you know you gotta make it right. 5 beer, 6 beer, maybe 7. Getting my buzz in a honky-tonk heaven. The band's just starting, so we're gonna be here all night.
That. Thanks, bro.
I like it. It doesn't ever really stop with 1 beer, does it?
No, definitely doesn't.
Well, that's a lively video for a lively song. Tell us a little bit more about the team. Is most of this live? I mean, tell us about the video.
Yeah, so we brought in a director and did it the right way, but we were able to do one of the things that I take a lot of pride in as being very hands-on, and found a director that was willing to help with that, but take what he was good at, because he was going to be better than me at this. But he really took my kind of mission of that I wanted to have a live feel, a live connection, but we also wanted some professionals, so that because you can always tell the difference. And so what we did though is we went in and we talked at them. Obviously, you can tell I love to talk, so I sat down with the whole team and I was like, you had all these professionals, and then I had some friends and family, and I'm like, for all the pros, here's the deal: we'll pay you regardless. If you don't want to be here, just let us know. We'll pay you. You can go home and you can have a good day. But if you want to be a part of something fun and something special, then let's do it, right? And I think people like that direct honesty because the delivery wasn't negative. It was just basically trying to say we wanted people to have fun, not just be there to be there. And I think that opened up them realizing that, hey, I don't actually have to be a professional today. They just want bodies. And by the time they got into the song, you could realize that they were starting to genuinely sing along and have fun. And I think it just became infectious. And a lot of our social media impact has come from those people that were so excited to share the video because they had a blast. And so it did give off a real, actual live environment, which was fun because you had all the cameras and all the lights and all the chaos and the team. I mean, there was probably, I don't know, there's probably a dozen or so workers involved with how the itinerary would move through the day, the logistics, everything. But even they were having fun. And that's what made it an absolute, just, I keep saying the word, but it just made it fun. It was a blast.
Yeah, they did a brilliant job. It came across like it was a live performance.
Yeah.
So how's the reaction been? I'm assuming that in live performances, everybody is on their feet during this one.
Yeah. So we've done it live one time with the full band. I've done it myself at some acoustic shows. I'm kind of in a little bit of an acoustic format right now. But we did at the House of Blues last weekend. House of Blues recently. I don't remember what it was now. Last weekend, the weekend before. We did a big benefit, and it was super cool. It was my first House of Blues show, and I was opening up for Diamond Rio, and it was like, okay, I got to do this 30-minute show. I hate 30-minute shows, and I shouldn't say I hate it. I'm scared of 30-minute shows, and I was like, how do I do this show and really, capture what I want to capture? So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do something a little crazy. I'm going to end my show with one beer, and we did. And man, it brought the house down. And I'm looking around at the guys. I'm like, okay, this song's gonna work. So it lends itself directly into my live show format, which is just interactive and wild. And I mean, wild's probably a great word for it. I get a little rowdy.
Well, I think you can tell you were doing a good job too when you can do an acoustic set and it connects.
Oh yeah. Well, that's when you just realize, like, I mean, like I said, I know that I'm an entertainer. It's one of the few things. Like, I've got a lot of insecurities, but that's definitely not one of them. And I know that. Like, I carry a lot of confidence with my ability live, and it's not because I'm a good singer or a great singer or anything like that. It's just I love people, and I think when you truly, genuinely love connecting with people, then it's just going to be a good show because that's what your focus is. And so when I do it, me and an acoustic guitar, I'm just having fun, man. And that's, I think, people know when you're having fun. They just do. And people know when you're not. People know when you're faking it. And I just happen to be a guy that's not too good at faking it. So for now, I'm going to say it works in my favor.
I'm pretty good at having fun, though.
Yeah.
Tell the fans what they should expect next from you. You said you had something new coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I think what everybody should expect next from any of the Clark Hill brand right now is just a constant evolution in a good way. I really think that's the best thing to point people at, is that don't get stuck on that you think the next thing is going to be like one beer. And I mean that in a good way. Like, I've really prided myself on that. We're going to come at this from every angle, and we're going to tell real life stories because, like you already asked, is like, what do you turn to? What do you listen to? And I think that's something that every human being does. There's nobody in the world that goes, I only listen to Clark Hill. I only listen to Vince Gill. I only listen to Elvis Presley, whatever. So my music is going to come like that pretty hard at everyone right now. There's 6 new songs lined up that we're in the kind of phase of finishing up and mixing. They're all 6 different, literally. And that's what I think. I'm excited. I think that's what fans should get excited for, is like, yes, you're going to know it's me as soon as I open my mouth. There's going to be certain things about the guitars. You're going to be like, hey, this is a Clark Hill song. But we've come at this with some different styles, and I think people are going to be excited to hear some blues influence. I think people are going to be excited to hear some of my gospel influence, and we're always going to keep having. I'll always have like a drop D Southern rock song. So you don't worry. I've got a fan that's become a really good friend lately, and she loves Stage Song, and it's like I used to think it was like my stupidest song, and now it's like we open every show with it now, and she's just like, Stage. So. Don't worry, everyone. There will be another Stage Song.
I like it. So what's an approximate date we should be looking for that project?
I would say, I think we can start seeing, we might do another release in a few weeks, honestly. I don't want to get everybody too excited, but by the end of the year, there will be another song out for sure. A lot of it depends on how the next few weeks play out with One Beer. Not that fans care about the business side of it, but it's just like there's a lot of meat left on the bone with One Beer, and we know that. So it's like we want to capture the next group we want to capture the next audience, but we also want to share the next part of the story. But we want to give one beer a chance to get what it deserves too. So I don't want to give anybody a date yet, but you're going to see something by the end of the year for sure. And then probably very soon, right after that, again, we want to kind of get into a phase of just releasing new music all the time and letting the music speak for itself. And some people love it, and some people won't.
Well, I think that's a good way to go. We can. I think this keeps us hungry for the next thing, and knowing it's hanging out there, we can enjoy this and wait for the next one to pop up.
Yeah, I think so. I think the next one's going to be a fun one. So,
well, let's wrap it up. Please just tell us where we can find you online, on stage, and where we can buy or listen to all of your music.
Okay. Yep. So you can find everything on clarkhillmusic.com, obviously, and then all the socials are Clark Hill Music as well. So it's really easy to find. And as far as watching what we're doing, the best thing to do is keep up on whatever your favorite social platform is. We keep up on all of them. And then on tour, you're going to see us still a little bit of everywhere. We've got some private events coming up to end out the year. I've got Country Cruising coming up, which we're going to be making an announcement. So I don't know when you guys are going to watch this, but in the next week or so, there's going to be a big announcement that we're doing some changes with Country Cruising, which is going to be awesome. So there's going to be a little bit of a show that some people I think will be very excited to hear that people that aren't going to be on Country Cruising might have a way to access it. So that's probably our biggest teaser. And then we're going to get into, we've got some conversations going on about some tours next year. And when I say tours, I mean some tours with some big artists that we're going to be able to get out and get into some new markets that we haven't been in yet. And then, it's still the same old workhorse Clark Hill. So I would also tell the fans, if you want to see us somewhere, just ask your local venue to reach out to our team, and we'll come. We don't care. We just want to come play music, and we want to smile and cry with you and live a little life together.
Sounds awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Clark. It's really been great getting to know you just a little bit.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Clark Hill. So what do you guys think? Is One Beer going to be your new favorite song? This has been Mark Gilliat for AIM Country Music Television. Thank you so much for watching.
5 beer, 6 beer, maybe 7. Getting my buzz in a honky tonk heaven. The band just started, so we're gonna be here all night.